You're such an asshole.
We have a deep dive one because this was incredibly philosophical and I'd say appropriate, good request. But I had to charge a lot of money because I had to read through an article. I had to sit and think and take notes, though the answer may not be that long. So I don't want to hear no. Here's the Aaron, do all this research. And if I do all the research, I say the answer is 42. Oh, that was a short response. It's like all the work went into the research. Here's your answer. Like, you don't go into the mechanic and like he hands you the keys. Well, that's it. You just handed me the keys. Like, no, he was under your hood for quite some time. That should be a metaphor for getting with a girl. I was under her hood. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. All right. So, is this a woman or a guy? Can I mention your name? Madison. There's plenty. No one's going to know who you are. Madison. So I don't know if that's a guy or a gal. Man, Atham, if it's a girl, Atham is letting on all these broads. Hi, Aaron. I was wondering if our current technology, more specifically AI, was about to cause the end of free will. With that thought in mind, I did some research and landed on a great article from The Economist. Long from being the typical Terminator Skynet conspiracy, AI's power and influence might have much scarier consequences, such as the end of our ability to think critically and develop as individuals. This is the article, and the client links to an article in The Economist, which nowadays, 1 in every 20 articles is good. Back in the day, 20 out of 20 articles were good. Nowadays, like socialism, touchy-feely, diversity, maybe some economics. A cry for freedom in the algorithmic age. And so I provided a link down below. This is also written by a guy called Gaspard Koenig. He's a French philosopher. I linked to his website below because he's very intelligent, no doubt about it. He runs a think tank over in France. Him and I would be politically aligned, philosophically aligned. Politics would be too degrading. But I have my critiques of him, which we'll get to later. I would like you to read this article and give us your take on it. This article was written in January of 2020, and it is insane how all the warnings given by then have manifested. Then, they were already happening back then. There were no warnings. It was happening. 2020 was not that long ago. Given by then have all manifested themselves in the last 2 years: censorship, data manipulation, isolation, thought police, and control. Which lifestyle habits can we maintain in order to limit negative algorithmic influences on our lives? You just give up your phone. I mean, you don't watch the news. I'll answer that question right now. You stop consuming the content. You don't have social media. You don't watch TV. And a point I'm going to make in my analysis of that, of this article, is this has been going on long before. Mass media in general, okay? The internet is just the latest incarnation of it. I think it was Yuri Bezmenov. I think it was a CIA agent. Forget who it was. They said, what can we do to make sure we don't get brainwashed? He says, turn off your television. All right. And television obviously predates the internet by quite some time. So that you just don't consume. Here's what you don't consume mass media, and you be an independent thinker, a brave independent thinker, no matter what the consequences. Okay. Like a point, because without critical analysis, without the courage to think independently, you will never, ever be able to accurately diagnose the truth. They can always lie with numbers and statistics, right? I'll give you a perfect example where this has ruined an entire generation, and that generation. It has ruined multiple generations of an entire race, and that is how we lie to Black people. Among other people as well. We could just say poor people, but since we always look through things as a lens now through race or traits, as I'd like to expand everyone's mind here. It's not race, it's traits. We could say this exact same thing about women or whatever group, but let's use Blacks as an example. No one has the balls or the love or the care or compassion to deliver the tough fatherly love to the Black community, among other communities that say, stop having kids you can't afford. Because that would hurt their feelings. And it's not even that it would hurt their feelings. That's okay. It's that you'd be worried about the backlash of being called a racist. You're not a racist. You're quite the opposite. Why? Because you're trying to help these people. And that's the thing. Stop consuming mass media. Don't eat their diet. And be a critical, courageous, independent thinker. And if if you need to speak the truth, I wouldn't speak the truth. Don't speak it. Just know the truth. But since I'm on the public platform and all that, if someone asks you, you really want to help out society? Yeah, for everyone, not just the black community, but for everyone who's poor. Number one cause of poverty, stop having kids you can't afford. And then when all the pearl clutchers, all the Marxists, and then they sling the names at you because you're threatening their money-making operation. You're potentially freeing the slaves from the Democrat parties of the black community. Might say, wait a minute, yeah, he's right. We should stop having more kids. Maybe we even vote, maybe not vote Republican, but we certainly stop voting Democrat. That's why you get called an Easternism, even though you're actually trying to help out your fellow black individual. Anyway, my point is, to free yourself from it, stop consuming the content. Don't believe everything you hear or say. Dude, logic and would you like another example? To answer your question, we'll get to the analysis. I'll give you another example. All right. This has nothing to do with racial politics or sexual politics. You have the official, could be no more official statement that inflation is transitory. Who said it? The professionals did. The economists probably said it, for God's sake. But the economists in the government, the economists in the banking system, private sector economists, the university economists, central bank, federal government economists. Oh, no. We can print off. They even have a bleeping theory called modern monetary theory. Oh, we just print off all the money in the world, but it's okay because it's backed up by the rich people who we can tax. We just print off everything. No, man. No. That's all BS. It's all meant to confuse you. Here's the simple question. Did you print off more money? You did. There's going to be inflation. That's it. That's it. And so the quickest way, to be a political analyst, I'm a political news junkie. Okay, so you're a moron. Garbage in, garbage out. Here, you want to be a genius economist? You want to be a genius political analyst? You want to be a genius sociologist? Bravery, courage, empiricism, and here above all else, common effing sense. Common sense. Did you print off more money? Yeah, you're going to have inflation. Common sense. You have more kids than you could afford. You're going to be poor. Common sense. Here's for the ladies. You want to help? Here, you want to actually try and help out women, but be called sexist in an ironic sense, right? You want to not be poor? And you want to close the wage gap, ladies? Stop majoring in stupid crap. Oh, really? I should get like a pearl. Wait. When they're clutching their purses, right? They don't clutch their pearls. They clutch their purses, right? Whatever. Purse clutchers. Maybe we put pearl handle on the purse and be pearl clutchers. Whee! All right. So but you do not waste think of all the years you waste getting a doctorate in the social sciences that common sense not only replaces, but surpasses. Bravery and common sense. And you will be better than all the doctorates in all the social sciences in all the world. And that's not a statement of bravado or a damning. No. All the social science, all the experts are wrong. They're wrong in part mostly because they're politically motivated. This is why your old pissed off grandfather, the World War II vet, I guess nowadays Vietnam vet, has more wisdom to be the grizzled old stupid. Remember, you all made fun. Hang on. Are you guys old enough to remember this? Let's go back in the before time. Do you remember when the boomers? It is as recent as The Simpsons, okay? But they all made fun of the old Grandpa Simpson. Oh, they made fun of the hippies. Oh, you're a square man. Well, let's fast forward 40 years now where the boomers are old, World War II generation now. How'd that work for the boomers? The stereotype of the square World War II greatest generation grandpa, you kids and your music and your pot. Chill out, man. We know what we're doing. And now we're all basically the destructive wasteland, the I don't want to call it victims, but the destroyed society that the boomers laid waste to. They were right. Those curmudgeonly old men were right. I know more Vietnam vets who do not have college degrees. They are smarter than all the social science doctorates because the social science doctorates are morons. It's a flawed study. You literally might as well be doing astrology. That's what it's on par with. And simple blue-collar common sense will trump it all the time. So that's how you don't become brainwashed. Say, no, you're poor because you screwed up. You're poor because you hide behind your genitalia, blame your laziness on men, and then you go on and major in poetry. You're poor because you spent more than you made. That's it. That's all it is. There it is. And then you too could be one of the world's greatest economists by never going to school or setting foot in an economics class. And then I'll just throw this in here. Which lifestyle habits can we maintain in order to limit negative algorithmic influences? So unplug yourself from the matrix. Here's another thing. Be thin. Be hot. Go to the gym. Try that. I won't explain why, but then you'll see it. Oh, totally different world. Not that I'm super hot or super thin or anything, but I was pretty at one time. How can we push back on this trend, which is turning everyone into NPCs? No one's going to that. But all right. So let's go through the analysis here then, and then I'll answer that last question. So, all right. So the basic premise of Gaspard's book and the article is that the individual, you're nothing but a history, a legacy of choices. All right. Especially in how you interact in the world. So you make a choice to do all this, and that your choice, your right to choose, your individuality is determined by the choices you make, defined by even, and certainly how you interact with the rest of people. So since individual choices are the philosophical atomic unit by which defines you as the individual, anything that affects those choices will also then kind of determine you as an individual, and therefore, are you an individual? Are you mere subject of the environment that forces you to make one choices or the other? And what Gaspard is concerned about is that with AI, an increasing number of our choices are being automated for us. You don't even get to make the mistake. whether it's good for you or not, whether you're influenced by society or not, it's still an influence. You still have the choice as to whether or not to wear a condom or get an abortion or not, and then set your path down a certain life. Or you could be a single mom, right? But he's saying, like, no, we're even at the small level, we are having choices taken away from us by artificial intelligence. And it could be something as simple as like what route you take with Google, and you could see it, and you think, oh well, how much of a frustration. Have you here you are, you lived in your country, state, whatever town for 20 years. You know that town like the back of your hand. You also are so familiar with that town. You know where traffic backs up so that you can adjust and adapt to a changing environment to get to the place. How many of your girls like pull up the app? It has to go this way. And you're like, no, that's wrong. Well, the app takes you through some effing route. You're going through bag. You're spending more time looking at the map. Look, do I go right? Crispillian Quillo Way Road Court. Lost in some damn suburb. The hell, I remember Chicago 38th North. I knew I was 38 blocks north of downtown. 28th Street West. I know I'm 28 blocks west of downtown. How hard was that? But from that, all the way to, you could say, influence with social media, and he's talking about that. He's concerned that's going to erode individuality as we outsource our decisions more and more to AI, predominantly through social media. And also by consequence, society will be no longer an individualistic society. This would obviously have consequences when it comes to liberty or democracies, where if you're influenced by AI has made the decision for, has it already? Did you not notice how big tech was like, oh yeah, not Trump, not Republicans. Like, and it makes you be the Borg. So yes, you could see, yeah, big ramifications. He's not wrong. Some is like, okay, it takes us an extra 2 minutes because my ditz of a wife decided, we have to go with the app says. Take your effing nose out of that goddamn app and shut up. You're so so rude, so angry. You're such an individual. I find you even more attractive, but I'll cry now because it hurt my feelings. This article in Cosmos says, yeah, okay, Borget. I know you guys like NPCs. Borget. Okay, Borget. See, a little French. Gaspard's French. That would probably be French, I'd imagine. Just trying to make him feel welcome here on this analysis. All the French guys. But yeah, you could see where if everyone keeps outsourcing their decisions, whether it's on a micro level or a macro level, this will have large consequences. And I'll just admit right now, okay, democracy, that's fine. But if your algorithm, you failed to carry the one, let's analogize this to the European Space Agency, where they tried to send some kind of thing to Mars, some satellite. And it was a joint operation. And quite literally, it was someone forgot to carry the one, except it wasn't carry the one. It was one formula to convert from metric to standard. Someone failed to do that. Well, what happened? $250 million space project was wasted. $250 million wasted. That's just one slight mistake. All right. And if the algorithm is wrong because the people who go and program the algorithm at Google, Facebook, or whatever are all a bunch of Marxists who actually believe in stupid concepts like privilege and diversity having value. Like, no, diversity of thought has value. Diversity of traits does not. And then they program that into a society-wide algorithm called social media, not with the objective point of converting everyone to the Democrat, or in this case, Labor Party or Socialist Party, but that's a consequence or byproduct. You failed to study history and that one little formula now has disastrous consequences. I would argue not teaching kids and people about economics has had horrifically. It's ended civilization. That will be the demise, because we couldn't teach people spend less than you make and stop printing off money. See how some modern monetary theory, make money, printer go burr. Why is rent so high? A blue collar common sense man could see that. But these people stuck in the matrix, the Borgs themselves, don't realize that is the route, and now we're going to have financial problems. But that is where Gaspard, among other people, is like, you need to. This is why the freedom of speech is so important, and why the big tech platforms. I hope the YouTube censors are listening. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You may not like what non-Borg people say. You may not like what fringe people say, but it's kind of important for these people to say it, because you know what? Would you like 2 examples? 3? Would you like 3 examples where one person could have prevented multiple trillions of dollars pain and agony in the U.S. economy alone? The dot-com bubble, the housing bubble, and the education bubble. Now, I'm not the only voice that warned everybody about it, but I was certainly in the minority, and I was scathed and reprimanded. But even the dot-com bubble, there wasn't the internet yet to have it. You still have society acting like a group of sheep, and we're going to get to that later, already reprimanding someone who doesn't go with the tribe. And you big tech censor people are silencing those voices of disagreement and whatnot that may end up actually being the thing. Like, the Titanic's going to sink. And it's not like this crazy guy thinks the Titanic's going to sink. You ostracize them. You deplatform them. Brendan Ike, anybody? You tech people know about Brendan Ike, right? So he donated to a political platform, what is it, a cause, whatever. He donated money to the anti-gay marriage amendment in California. And this is going back quite some time ago, where the political cause he donated to was against allowing gay marriage. If I remember correctly, don't quote me, but it had something to do with gay rights. Now, I'm a libertarian. I am all for gay rights. I would disagree politically with that individual. But he got fired because he donated to that from Mozilla. Really? You're gonna squash these variables? You're going to go after their livelihood? Like, I completely disagree with communists. But I'm not for firing half the baristas in the world because they're Marxists. I'm like, yeah, they should be able to have that. And sometimes you can learn something from people you politically disagree with. For example, I disagree with UBI, which is what we did an experiment with the stimulus checks. All right. But one good thing to come of that is the Great Resignation, where people are now forcing employers to actually pay a living wage. We're like, nope, screw you. And there was much needed, I wouldn't even say reform, but great ass kicking and beatings needed among American employers to get their heads out of their asses and have like I've already come up with a bill of worker rights for today in America. But like, you don't lie about job duties. There's no mandatory political training. You must give on-the-job training. If you don't need a college degree, don't require it. That came from the left. It wouldn't have come if you didn't have this experiment with UBI. All right? So it is very important to have a diversity of thought in whatever marketplace of ideas or global marketplace of communications and discussion, public squares. And because, and I know this because for the most part, all of big tech employees from the mail boy to the CEO, they're all indoctrinated with leftist thought. They're all biased to the left. They are going to pilot this Titanic ship, democracy, heavily influenced democracy, and guide society into an iceberg if they're not careful, if they don't allow for free speech. And what the concern that Gaspard has is that forget big tech. Big tech is just an amalgamation. Every organization you have in the United States at the atomic in the world at the atomic level is the individual. And if you corrupt the individuals to no longer think independently, we will not have that ability to sit atop of a mountain and identify threats and opportunities. And that's one main complaint. Before the internet, we're going to get to this again. Before the internet, the way you get to the top of a corporation is you obey. You don't think. This is how Wall Street, world's financial experts, got caught with their pants down and a dildo shoved up their ass with no lube on the housing crisis. Because they obeyed. They didn't allow independent thinkers to identify opportunities. How many examples do you want me to give where all of society is a bunch of freaking sheep? Right? You know how no IBM didn't want Bill Gates' Microsoft idea. Ben Franklin, they're not around, not the individual, the dime store, Ben Franklin stores. They refused the Walton Brothers Walmart idea. These people are so obedient, so conditioned, they never identify opportunities or threats. And so a housing crisis can destroy Wall Street. An education bubble can destroy 3 generations approaching now. And opportunities, Ben Franklin could have been a multi-billion-dollar corporation if it just bought out the Walton Brothers back in the 60s or 70s or whenever the heck they started. Nope. All sheep. And that trend, that desire for humans to obey and be part of the tribe, I would say has already existed in society, but is being accelerated and broadened and standardized with social media. I mean, look at how many girls, oh yeah, I'm a feminist. Have you thought about what that means? Have you looked to see what other people under that banner are doing? You know, I mean, it's just like, nope, we're just good. And so his concerns are absolutely right. But I would say these concerns are already there. So that's the main thesis, I would argue, probably of his book and certainly the article. And logically, his primary concern is with big tech. I think this is the main conduit by which he's worried about AI making all the decisions. And one of his main concerns is limiting free speech. And so his solution, which I think goes, which is fine, it's germane to the topic of conversation. They say, what do you recommend? He says, well, we should have private rights to our data. We should be able to sell our data to Facebook and Google and YouTube, and that's fine, and that's academic, and this is one of the problems I have with him as an individual is he's an academic. How do you do that? How do you roll it out? It also ignores the natural monopoly nature of platforms. We only need one YouTube. We only need one Twitter. We only need one Facebook. And certainly you could have competitors rise, but society, that's the whole point, is an economies to scale type of thing. But so it's a solution. Maybe it's an idea. He doesn't have the nuts and bolts worked out, which is fine. That's what academics do. I got a great idea. How is it practical? I don't know. I'm an academic. La 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 la. I'm like, thanks. Thanks, Herman Hoppe. I don't hate him. Someone had me study him. I'm like, okay, talk about a theoretician. All right. Did you ever swing a baseball bat? You ever cop a field of boobies? You ever live in the real world? So, but anyway, the larger point is he's right. All right. If you have more and more decisions made by robots, by a Borg-like AI social matrix platform, you're gonna, look at recommendations on YouTube. You're gonna have things like Trevor Noah is popular. That's considered witty. Jon Stewart was think about, again, before the internet was due, Jon Stewart was like the source where all Gen Xers got their news. Jon Stewart. Again, how many times, it just shows you how long the brainwash has been going on. Big shock, all the way from mass media journalism back in the day to modern day Facebook. Oh, the Democrats again. I wonder if they're going to help out the Black community this time it'll be different, right? And so you get the wrong solution. You lose progress because, well, here's another one. This wasn't even mentioned in the article, but he was talking about how by going through big tech and social media, you enforce rules and laws the government could never hope to, like the freedom of speech. You can't say certain things now because of big tech. Because it essentially has created an East German Stasi the East Germans could only dream of having right now. They got their neighbors turning against each other. What was I going to go with that? You got this matrix. It could go the wrong way. I forgot where I was going with it. But you get the point. You get the point that we are no longer, or less and less individuals. Mass media, social media, big tech is I would argue accelerating this trend. It's not creating it. And there are consequences for thinking like sheep. Right? So he's right. All right. But here are my three criticisms of the three mistakes he makes. And so he makes a rookie mistake of thinking that everybody is like him, independent minded. And this is kind of the friend mistake. Like you'll hear okay, for example, I cannot understand beating a woman. I can't understand getting in a fight with a guy unless he's attacking you. That's more personal, like and up in front, because you've had that happen like on the playground. But as an adult, like I can't see it. Like if it's that bad of a situation, you leave. I don't care how wrong you are or wrong you just leave at that point. You leave, you walk away. But then you hear people like, oh, I can't believe she's still with that guy. Or I can't believe this girl did that thing to that guy, whatever, divorced him, whatever. It doesn't matter. And like, oh, I can't believe they did that. Well, yeah, the reason you can't believe that is because you don't hang around with evil, bad people. Most people surround themselves with good people, or what they at least think is good people. And then they think, I can't believe that exists. Well, yeah, because selection bias, you've surrounded yourself by people you genuinely like. And everyone's got skeletons in the closet and they want, but at least the front they put to you is that they're good people. So you can't believe it. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And so he thinks that like people have this independent thought that people are not sheep, that they all head up libertarian think tanks like he does at France. It's like, no, man, No, people are sheep. And I can't be too critical of them on this because I didn't come to this conclusion until I was like 38, 39. This is no more than 5, 6, 7 years ago. I thought people were resilient against brainwashing. No, man, people are totally they are totally subjective to brainwashing. Only like 5 to 10% of people are really resistant to brainwashing. 80% of college degrees are awarded are worthless. At minimum, 80% of people are stupid and brainwashable sheep. And so he's like, oh, well, obviously people have the cognizance and the sentience and the awareness and the critical thinking to where, hey, you're influencing our independent decision making. Even the premise of this article is overly optimistic in what the average human brain is capable of. He's like, did you know that, like, the concept, like, yeah, more and more decisions are made, we're a collection of our individuality is a collection of individual decisions we've made going all the way back since we had sentence and the ability to choose. Your average human being can't even understand that. Your average human being is horking down wings, effing his fat wife, and she kind of gives him like starfish sex, and they got to worry about divorce, and they're in debt. Why? Because the television told them to buy the fancy trinket or the SUV. 80% of the college bound. That's the smarter 2/3. Well, first, 2/3 of people go to college now in the West. So there's a bunch of lemmings. 80% of them major in stupid stuff. Our smartest 2/3 still screw up 80% of the time. All this independent thinking, why is it young people continue to vote for the left no matter where you go if they're so independent-minded? Why do the independent-minded people who pound their fist, they're independent, all think the same way? Why do the strong independent women on every dating platform vote left, swipe left if you like Trump, like to travel, and are just mass-produced blocks of boring styrofoam? They're not, and his last name is Koenig. It's the OE, so it's German, I think. And Mr. Koenig, you're smarter than the average person. It's the turkeys and the eagles. It's the wolf and the sheep. His big mistake is he assumes, one, the majority of people want to be independent-minded, and two, that they're even capable of it. And my contempt, and that's the most precise word, for the average person out there has so gone away. I'm sorry. My care, concern, and my respect for the average person out there has gone so far away, and has been replaced with contempt that my future, once I get around to it, is to make money off of people by ruining their lives legally. Because I don't respect them. It also didn't help that every common normie, conformie, and inferior out there calls me a name and an ist and an ism and a bad person while I'm trying to help out people. I have such contempt for the normies, conformies, and inferiors. I don't view them as an enemy, but they have ruined not just my life, but all of society. And just like Oprah and the Democrat Party, you have every right to take advantage of them and enrich yourself off of these cattle. You still idealistically, or he still idealistically thinks that these people have the ability and the desire to wake up from the matrix. They do not. All right. So, and I'll tell you this. So your audience then would be the not sheep. Well, the not sheep, I don't know if you've noticed the people in command. You think the Democrat Party wants black people to get off the plantation and wake up? You think they want to get people to think, you think they want kids not to go to college? No, the powers that be, corporations. Okay, another example. You think Nike Corporation wants young black men to wake up, say, whoa, hang on, $180 for a pair of shoes? I could buy a bike or a moped or get a down payment on a moped, start Ubering and make some money. You think they want them to wake up? No. So there's no incentive, whether it's the sheeps or the malicious shepherds, to wake the cattle and the sheep and the herd up. None at all. So it does remain a purely academic discussion. And it won't be until we're all starving and the electricity off that we get back to brass tacks. Like, boy, we really need to be empirical and truth-based right now. We cannot afford this luxury of pretty lies and UBI before people have a huge incentive, namely their survival, to be empirical and realistic and stop sparing people's feelings. All right. So that's your first mistake. It's a nice article, very intellectually stimulating for the 1% of the population who's going to appreciate it, but no one else is going to get it or care about it. All right. 2, his solutions then, and this is where it's like, oh, precious academics. No, I refuse to call him doctor. He has a doctorate in philosophy. That's not a real degree, and you could see his lack of street smarts in this. His recommendations are to intervene on people's behalf. Like, he doesn't assume any of these people have individual choice. And whereas they all are sheep, most of them are sheep, they do make the choice to sign the terms and conditions, don't they? They do agree to sign up for Facebook and YouTubes and the interwebs, right? But he's like, we got to come up with property rights laws. We have to protect these people. It's like, well, are the individuals or not? And one thing, and this is where I had to laugh. This is probably the most contradictory thing about what his stated aims are with, we got to wake people up. His solution, one of them, and he didn't connect the dots, which because I understand went beyond the scope. So maybe I'm missing something. But one of his solutions was like, we should get UBI. I'm like, are people individuals or not? Are they sheep? If they're sheep, they need UBI and they should be sent to slaughter. They should be here to serve us if we got to pay them to exist. All right. But if they're individuals and you're worried about individuality, then they should not be getting UBI. They should experience and endure the full costs and consequences, or enjoy the full benefits and profits of their good and bad decisions. Would the UBI, you know who UBI is for? Sheep. Not independent-minded people. They're for sheep. You know who needs UBI? Little children. You know who needs UBI? People that are so lazy and stupid, they think that they're entitled. They don't even get to the concept. They don't know where food comes from. Yeah, go ask anyone on UBI or welfare in general. Where does the food come? Most of them, it comes from the store. They don't even aware of farms. And so if you read through the article, he's calling for a call of action, like we need to do something for the individuals, which contradicts his argument that they're individuals. And I'm more of one like, look, if we all evolve to become the Borg, okay? If we all evolve to go back, forget space exploration, forget like, well, the sun's going to supernova, it's going to go super red giant moon or sun first. We got to get off this planet. Let's move this way. And others be like, no, give me that. And equality and justice for what? For what? Because you have a big screen TV, but you don't have slightly as nice of a car as the guy who works as a plumber? These people, they're not independent-minded people, right? But you're not helping the situation by enabling them to continue not being independent individuals. So your solution is either to let them continue to make stupid choices and suffer the consequences, or you interact on their behalf, which means they're not individuals, right? At least at the beginning, they get to make the choice. Am I going to be a welfare bum? Or am I going to be a producer? I'm going to major in something worthwhile, or I'm going to major in worthless leftist liberal arts slop. If you got to come in there, who got to intervene? You've now completely contradicted the whole point of this article. So that's another main one. And here's the other one. I don't know if he acts like this or he doesn't, but it seems to me like everyone's like, this is new. Look out. The internet will brainwash you. Oh, you mean like Vogue magazine and Moselle and Teen Vogue and Cosmo before the internet? They brainwashed an entire generation of women. You didn't need the internet. Mass media was around the entire time. Before the internet, you had everyone brainwashed to think they were going to go and become Wall Street executives, or they're going to become actors and actresses in L.A. Sex in the City predates the internet. broadband internet anyway. They convinced young women that they didn't need no man. Women by the thousands actually moved to New York City thinking that's what it was like. You had an entire, starting in Woodrow Wilson's day, you convinced people with wasn't the Great Society? What was it? The Progressive Era, right? Woodrow Wilson predates that. But starting there and starting with Marx, you got people to actually believe that not only not working was a way to have an economic system, but that nowadays, more modernly, that's something to be proud of and to have at the center of your existential purpose and existence in life. I'm a socialist. I'm a feminist. I'm an environmentalist. Do you work? No, but I'm proud and amazing. I need a government. I mean, think about your rank and file modern day young leftists today in the United States. They are proud. They are parasites. And that happened now. You could say Gen Z, they have been brought up with the internet, but certainly the millennials, they weren't brought up fully with the internet, and Gen X, they're all a bunch of social. How'd they get there? We've brainwashed people long ago. You got, baby boomer women before the internet, well before the internet, and certainly Gen X women, careerist women. Where'd that come from? Goes against all your genetic, biological, and human nature. Still happen. You got people to vote away freedom. And this, you got, has nothing to do with politics. How many, literally hundreds of millions of men's lives have been wasted where their peak pinnacle, the happiness is sitting at a bar, getting fat, horking down burgers and wings and light beers, watching the game. This goes back to the Nika revolts with the blues and the greens. Gaspard, do you know that? Do you know that story? The Byzantium Empire? Do you know that one? Where whatever, the gladiator teams, they had different, I think it was the blues, the greens, the reds, and the whites. They were like the four teams in Nika. And I think it was the blues and the greens fought against each other. And one team won. The blues won, let's just say. And the greens were upset. And the greens rioted, and the Byzantium Empire almost collapsed. And then Princess Theodora came in. Actually, one of the few truly courageous, strong women in history. Ooh, yes, Sheryl Sandberg is not a brave, strong, just not. Completely scripted, came from a privileged background. Princess Theodora, though, balls. But the whole point is one team beat the other, a color. And then they rioted and almost destroyed the empire because their team lost. And today's modern day incarnation is somebody throws the remote against it because the Minnesota Vikings didn't make a field goal, which was hilarious. Remember that? Here's another one for you to study, Gaspard. There's this team in the United States, football team, the real football, not the football. It's a little bit more violent. And now everyone's grabbing the knee. Ah! The wind hit it. Shut up. So the Minnesota Vikings, they got to almost to go to the championship game twice, and they missed it twice because of a missed field goal. And field goals are pretty easy, unless you're far away, but they weren't far away. This is like the easiest thing to do, get field goals. And they screwed it up twice. And oh my gosh, all the Vikings fans were apoplectic. They were enraged because they're too stupid to realize that's a game and it has nothing to do with you. You're not involved. You don't own that Minnesota Vikings sports team. These players don't know who you are. They couldn't care less about you. But that's how dumb and brainwashed American men are. Well, and Byzantium people. Oh, do I have to talk about the hooliganism in European soccer? Or what about what happens in Mediterranean and Brazilian, Portuguese, South American, etc., Latino football, soccer, when a team doesn't win? Do people lose their bleep? They do. This brainwashed sheep has been going on for millennia. It is merely the vehicle or the media that we use to go and brainwash them. And they'll follow, man. They'll follow them. I'm so happy that before I died, I realized that most people are sheep. And that in my own mind, I didn't like bend the rule. I'm like looking at him like, huh. People were nice to me in the past to say, gee, thanks, Aaron. I know you tried to stop people from majoring in stupid stuff or the housing crisis or this, but all I get is flack from them. No, these people deserve to be enslaved. They deserve it. And if they enslave themselves through social media, they ruin their lives. They waste their one precious finite moment buying crap they can't afford, enslaving themselves. Gee, did debt exist before the internet? It did, because people bought crap the shiny box told them to. So I wouldn't worry about the internet. All right. It's just the latest incarnation. Yeah, it's just the latest brainwashing tool. The powers that be are going to brainwash the sheep so that women keep buying $5,000 purses instead of throwing money into a 401k. So the young morons go to college and give professors and college administrators, $150,000. Oh, and then you get more Democrat voters, or in your case, whoever the Socialist Party is over in France. It's just, look at it, man. Look at it. It's a big machine. It's the Eloi and the whatever, the Morlocks. Except the Morlocks aren't like these basement-dwelling, evil, cavernous predators. They're incredibly intelligent, almost alien-like people flying up on Elysium. This is our cattle. Our cattle are the humans down below. Oh, yes, we're genetically the same, and yes, you can't visually discern one human from the other, but you got enough intelligence points? You got enough IQ points? Everyone should hang on. By the way, where is it? I don't want to spill my, here. Get this, guys. Look at the numbers. Curse of the high IQ. Look how few smart people there are in this damn world. They're different because they know how to enslave all the other people. And you know what? These people will do it. They will sign up for it. You promise them a shine. You try and tell them the truth. You're ostracized. You're an ist or an ism or just a mean poopy head. And we're gonna take your money away. We're gonna fire you. We're gonna deplatform you. What do you mean there's an education bubble? Oh, you're just a destroyer of dreams. Okay. Well, then I guess since you're not going to be friendly when I try to help you out, yeah, you know what? You're my bitch. You're my cattle. You're my sheep. You're my herd. And I'm going to slaughter all of you and take as much money out of you as I possibly can. And so in that sense, I can't really fault the Democrat Party, the Socialist parties, the Labor parties. I can't fault the professors for getting paid $300 a credit from dumbass sheep that come on, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to fight for justice. I have a liberal arts degree. Can I go to law school and help for equity initiatives? Yeah, you're going to sign away at the dotted line for non-forgivable student loan debt? Thank you. Now you've just enriched the Democrat Party and the education system. That's been happening, man. It's been happening. So we get back to your point. How can we push back on this trend, which is turning everyone into... No, everyone was an NPC. They already were, and 8% of the population was conditioned for it. You don't owe it to push back. Your life is finite. I'd recommend you get on. Honestly, if I were to be truly, purely Machiavellian, I would recommend a young person. You join the Democrat Party. You study economics on your side, and you just create lies to sell to the people. Now you go be an engineer in the real world, but your side gig, you tell sweet lies. Write Harlequin romance novels. Go write for the Hallmark Channel. Oh yeah, ladies, you average plain Jane, single mom, and here comes an astronaut cowboy and an oil tycoon baron / race car driver, and they will fight each other for your... Sure, just give us your money. Sure, yeah, you're down, you're oppressed. Here's Colin Kaepernick, and he's going to sell you, just buy these shoes, and you're down with the cause, right? Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're oppressed, sweetheart. Yeah. It's the patriarchy. You know what? If you go and be an insufferable pain in the ass that nobody will want to hang out with, but you get an MBA and you work really hard, you pay a lot of taxes, and you make a corporation millions of dollars, then you be boss girl by the age of 52. And don't worry, as long as you spend another $120,000 in IVF, give those people more of your money, they'll still have a kid. And I guess, that'd be my final. Gaspard is so preciously cute. Oh, look at the academic thinking there's a solution to this. Oh, look at his little cheeks. Just want to pinch him. And you look at his background. Yeah, he's never worked in the real world. He's just doctor in philosophy, more education. I'm thinking something. Could have done that for free with the library. And that's the problem with academics is they're like, hey, wait a second. Yeah, how you gonna execute that there, Plato? These Plato and Socrates, I don't think they went to school. I think they just sat in their yogas. Let me get back to the question, make sure I didn't skip anything. How can we push back on this trend, which is turning everyone to NPCs and normies, conformists, and max out on our opportunities? I'd recommend reading How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. I'd recommend my book, Enjoy the Decline, Accepting Living with the Death of the United States. I got it right here. Get this. This book is very good. That will go into a deep dive on how to deal with that. I'd also recommend The Way of Monkey book by Turd Flingy Monkey. I recommend that you focus on being the individual. A must read. Hang on, here it is. This is a must read. No, that's not it. Where'd it go? Here. Sanity is the Future of Wealth. This is a short one. That's a one poo toilet paper read. Get this one. That will really get you going. All that's unavailable on paperback. On paperback, Kindle, Audible, on Amazon. But you are not your brother's keeper. Especially in this world of lazy, worthless sheep. You are not your brother's keeper. I tried for 20 years as an economist to stop people from doing stupid things. They want to do stupid things, and I'm done, and I'm going to make my money on them. I would say at minimum, you focus on the individual. You find the best group of friends you possibly can. You stay in physical shape. You find a girl, or I don't know if you're a girl or a guy, but regardless, you get in great shape. You find someone you really like and you have great sex. That's a great way to get back at the left in general, or the conformists, is to just be hot and have great sex. You go fishing. You don't pursue money. I mean, get money, make good money, but don't have that be your life. Like, be a minimalist. I got a class on minimalism. If you want to take that, that'll be offered probably in 2022. And go find a place you want to live. That's why another one, a lot of books that'll help you out in these endeavors is Reconnaissance Man. It's US specific, but go find out where you want to live, so your environment is enjoyable. I got my nice little cabin here out in the woods, literally. It's nice. I got my little pond, little stream if there'd ever be some rain again coming through. It's nice, and it makes me happy, even though I'm in a socialist-like country. But that is what you do. And for God's sake, don't waste your time trying to save the sheep. They can't be saved, and they don't want to be saved. And that's the minimum, okay? That's the minimum you do. You focus on the individual. You make sure your life here counts. If you want to do something beyond that, above and beyond the call of duty, you take advantage of the sheep. You lie to them. Oh, yeah. You set up I'll give you a perfect business template. Just to show you. Set up a nonprofit. Whatever it is. Especially if you attach a trait to it. Girls. Help women, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he cares about the women. Here's some money. Yep. And then 2% might actually make it to a woman. And 98% goes to compensate you for administration. I saw this a lot in the .com days, where people would set up a .com. And it still happens to this day. Like, they set up a new technology. Oh, Theranos is a perfect example. You set up a company, get a bunch of funding. You're the chief executive. Was there ever a product? No. Did you ever have an intention of making a profitable product? No. It's just research and development. But you pay yourself an executive salary, $500,000 a year. You do that for 3 years, you're retired. You're done. If you have and I'd recommend this to, this is not good. It's not moral, but F good and moral. These investment bank dopes will throw money at anything. You come up with a technology that most people are too lazy to go and calculate and figure out and understand. You talk over their heads, and then you deliver this like, I understand if this is a little bit complicated, over most people's heads, but here's what it generally, and that will insult the pride of investment bankers, and they'll show you. You know how they're going to show you? They're going to show you by funding you. I'll show that guy. I'll give him $7 million. Say, thank you. We'll keep you updated. Oh, some snafus. Oh, we're having problems with the flux capacitor. Oh, flux capacitor. We're having troubles with the flux capacitor. I have an MBA from Harvard. And you just pay yourself a nice $1.2 million out of that $7 million for your salary. That's what you should do. That's what and then you go buy property in a country where people haven't lost their freaking minds, preferably a poorer country or a culturally stable country somewhere in Asia. Like the Japanese are very culturally stable. They're Japanese. Taiwan, yeah, actually, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. I may visit these places first. I have a buddy, I won't mention who, but this person has moved to a Middle Eastern country. Oh, yeah, you know what? Pretty stable. They don't have woke politics. They don't have fat chicks saying, you better look how hot I am. They don't have plus-size mannequins in the malls. People leave them alone. All you got to do is maybe hear the prayers to Allah 5 times a day. I don't know if he's got to pay the tax. I think, obviously, he's not Muslim, but I think he's got to pay the tax. Or maybe not. I don't know. But they leave you alone. You don't have to deal with this nightmare like, hey, you really ought to spend less than you make. Shut up. We're going to burn down buildings. Oh, that's smart. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Well, thank you. So there you go. I hope that kind of answered your thing. Let me go through the super chats. Let me see if I missed any. I have to go all the way back. Today is the day I don't do anything. All right. Let's scroll through the super chats. Nonstop Dre, $2 sensors, hate speech detected. Send him to the gulag. Yeah, it's going to come to that. I can't wait until and understand this. People don't understand, well, why did the leftists turn on each other? Why did Stalin kill a bunch of leftists? Why did Lenin and all them have this infighting? What was with Trotsky and all this? The whole point of leftist leadership is so you don't have to work for a living. It's the same reason that, if you go through all European history is, here, I'm going to save you thousands of years European history. The French hate the British. The British hate the French. We're going to fight each other, right? And if they weren't fighting, someone was always trying to kill the king because they want to be king. But you didn't want to be king. If you were smart, which they weren't, you didn't want to be king. You want to know why? Because someone's always trying to kill you because they want to be king. That's why you didn't want to be king. And these leftists think that they're all going to be the leader and none of them are going to be the foot soldiers. They're all going to be generals and they're not going to be privates. And they don't realize that other people with more daddy's connections, probably more resources, more charisma, will get rid of you. And by get rid of, I do mean kill. You mean kill? I do mean kill. No one's going to get that one. That's the obscure movie no one's going to get. Eliminate. Don't you mean kill? I do mean kill. So what's going to happen is leftists get sent to the gulags because the defining characteristic and trait of a leftist is laziness. They don't want to work. And they don't want to work so much, they will gladly kill their political brethren. If it means that can only be one premier, can only be one commissar. Everybody else better get to the work farms and the factories. And most leftists don't want it, and they will fight to the death. Look at people will be bums. People will be homeless before they get a job. That laziness, I would almost argue laziness is a more powerful force than sex drive. Because I guess you can see that so many people are playing video games and being neats instead of chasing girls. That's why a lot of people are going to end up in the gulag. Nonstop Dre, $2. Cars at 2026. Wrong think detected. Reroute to jail. Dude, they're already nagging you. They're already nagging you. Ding, 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 ding. Your seatbelt's been on. Ding, ding, ding. Your light's been on. Ding, ding, ding. Your blinker's been on. You guys don't have to get married. You could just get a new car, and it will nag you to death. Fred Freeman sold $2. Bud took me to church in Texas. Cute Christians everywhere. Okay, well, ask them out there, Fred. I'm not hearing myself. The goddamn bacon for $2.70. What's the best fast casual dining in Rapid City? Sonic. Sonic is the fast food. That's your best bet. Now, Taco Bell is good. I haven't really eaten at McDonald's, but Sonic is the best. They got it done. Boom, 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 ba, ba, bum, and you're out. But I would not go to any restaurants, like a sit-down restaurant. Don't even bother. Just don't bother. The IHOP, which is on far north and even west side of town. No, north side of town. Drive past the parking lot, because I got to go there because there's the Lowe's every once in a while. If you drive past the parking lot, if there's not a lot of cars in and the open sign is on, then you could go. But if that parking lot is half full, don't even bother. But yeah, your best bet is Sonic and gas stations or the grocery store, and then continue on to your destination. But there's no reason to go sit down anywhere. Nonstop Dre, $2. Is free will like a potential? Greetings from is free will like free will? No, free will is free will, I'd say, is a declaration on how you're going to make decisions and what you're going to allow to control your life. But that potential, it's like I'm going to aim for my most potential, but you also are aware that you are governed by society. It's not just free will. I am the next Sterling Cooper and a bunch of redheads with big boobs. You got to come over here and we're going to have a harem. It's within the governance of reality and nature. But free will, I'd say, is a declaration where it's like, no, I'm going to make my own choices. And I would say it's a statement of courage. I'm going to be fully accepting and responsible of the costs and consequences of my decisions, but also the amount of labor I'm going, like, because, for example, I will make the choice not to be fat. Okay. Now, what are the ramifications? Well, they're all good, actually. I might get more girls. I'll be healthier. I'll look better. So those are the ramifications, but the drawbacks, okay, you might pull a muscle. Like I screwed up my finger working out. I got to have a doctor look at it, but it doesn't bend all the way now. It's minor, but okay, there's a consequence. But the work involved is you got to put in the work. I have to commit for the rest of my life to a chore of physical maintenance. So I have to go to the gym regularly. I have to endure pain. And it is taking on and acknowledging, accepting, and then enduring that pain or that cost, which can lead to potential. But I wouldn't say it's it is synonymous with potential. It is owning your agency and responsibility in this world, and then also owning the success and profits that come with it. I'm going to major in engineering. Atham is a perfect example of it. It's hard. He's got to work very hard, but he acknowledges it's going to be 6 years of full-time work and 3/4 time school. But then in the end, he is awarded the rewards, but then the government takes it away from him because most people in the United States are socialist parasites. Because single mommy Amy needs them gimme checks. Fred Freeman sold $2. Communist lost all credibility after the 2012 Obama. It lost all credibility in the 2008 endorsement. That's when it lost it with me. They actually said, well, why you've been like a subscriber for 10 years? I'm like, yeah, you endorsed a socialist. What is wrong with you? And then they endorsed him again. It's like, all right. The guy just jacked up the money supply like you wouldn't believe. And it goes against every economic thing ever. That's when they switched editors and editing staff, and they wanted to become like the next NPR, the British NPR magazine. Well, hello there, love. How you doing? I know her. Fred Freeman sold $2. Is Cappy secretly a libertarian socialist? No. I am not an attractive fat woman. I'm not a tall dwarf. I'm not a Asian Swede. There is no such thing as a libertarian socialist. They're mutually exclusive. You are just a socialist, okay? Or if you'd like to, say parasite, right? Beggar, panhandler, lazy POS, right? Socialist if you want to use the euphemism. But do not put libertarian in front of it because that's like you're a slow race car driver. Well, even that exists, right? But that doesn't exist. Will Dog Jones, $2. Nothing to say, just Merry Christmas. Oh, thanks, Will Dog Jones. Thank you very much. Rusty Shackelford, another generous 20. Look at him. Look at him. Giving to the Cappy Fund, which, I got to mention, at the request of, what's his name? If you guys don't want YouTube getting a third, because they get a third of all the donations, I have an Amazon thing, wish list. And I'd have to get it if you want to buy something, but they're pricey and they're nerdy. You could tell I'm an old man. It's like, yeah, he wants, battery backed up flashlights and another solar panel array. But I do appreciate the donations here. But if you're looking to help out with that, yes, I know I got to find the link. For $20, I just got back from the grocery store. At least a dozen people wearing masks on their chin. What's the point? Just because they're white and fluffy doesn't mean they're clouds. Keep yelling at them, sheep. Yep, I will. Well, no, I don't yell at the sheep. I look at them and I lick my chops. How am I going to take advantage of them today? There are some, what's a lamb? I guess a lamb would be a baby sheep, right? There are some lambs or younger kids. Maybe is that for a young sheep who are like, well, I don't know if I want to become a sheep. I might want to become a wolf. What's this guy over here talking? Oh, that's different. He's saying don't become a sheep. So you do get some young sheep who avoid becoming sheep because they tune in and consume a red pill in one way or another. But I'll keep yelling at those clouds. Rusty Uoli, $5 Australian. AI, potentially beautiful system to destroying the unwashed masses. Yes, much love from communist Australia. Yeah, and you can't really fault Lenin or the communists. Hey, free stuff, make me your premier. And meanwhile, me and the premiers who sit here in Moscow will have caviar and cars. You all starve. Fred Freeman Sowell, $5 seems some in the sphere advocate both return to monogamy and marriage on a macro level and spinning plates. But isn't this a contradiction? No. There's two types of girls, marriage material, not marriage material. Marriage material, you spin the plates. Marriage material, you think about committing. But as a higher and higher percentage of women go from marriage material to not marriage material, the next best thing is spinning plates. It's like, we don't have steak, sir, but we got chicken or lobster. I'll think I'll have the lobster. Oh, steak came in. Oh, maybe can I put an order for the steak? Sure. We'll see if there's some left. All right. Oh, no more steak. Someone else got it. Okay, I'll keep spinning plates. Fred Freeman saw $5. Was the pandemic the knockout for dating in the U.S.? No. That was all long. Dude, one thing I wanted to do, and I got to look it up. I want to find old Vogue magazines and Moselle and Glamour magazines, and read them from the 80s, because I'm kind of curious what was in there. I'd be really curious. No, it wasn't dating apps. Made apps primary. Was the disease the knockout for dating in the U.S. It's made apps primary way to date, and very average girls now have a huge ego. 49 is for the no. Girls were already moving that direction in the analog days. All the internet did was accelerate it and further polarize it. And Fresh and Fit have done some amazing work on pointing out the internet and Instagram, that effect on the people. I wish you're a little bit older. I really do wish. I mean, it's kind of funny. When you looked at your grandparents, you're like, oh, they lived when dinosaurs roamed and technology and things were so different. I'm old enough. Yeah, things were that different. People weren't fat. We were on our bikes. We played baseball. We had neighborhoods, even in the city. I mean, now go back to Fat Albert, the cartoon. They're even in the city. there were neighborhoods, and you'd run around with your gang, and not criminal gang, but a gang of boys. You know, you could see pictures, black and white, of the days. There were dances. You know, you went, you know, even something you never thought would go away, but dinner and a movie. Pick a good girl up at home. Hello, Mr. So-and-so. Yes, is Susie home because you spoiled her rotten? She still lives at home at 21 years old, and you're going to tell me the lecture about how not to touch your daughter. Meanwhile, I know she sucked my other friend's dick. Okay, Mr. Jones, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I'll have her back by 11 there, Mr. Jones. Sure, because she wasn't going to do anything anyway. This is just one of 3 dates. We're the 4th date. That's why I plan to stick myself inside your daughter. Well, 11 p.m. sharp, Mr. Jones. Yes, sir. You guys don't have that experience. Oh, those are good times. Pavel Razuvayev. $5. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Pavel. Dung is fun. $5. You guys always donate at the same time. You guys must be in the same time zone or something. If you want something love you unconditionally, get a dog. Yeah, dogs are fun. I really would like a dog. I just wouldn't be able to spend time with it. The Competent Man, $10. Don't know if you heard, 6th Circuit Fed Corp ruled on Friday OSHA mandates can go forward. At this point, I think only solution is for some states to secede from the U.S. USA had a good run, but it's no one's going to secede. No one's going to do it. No one's got the balls. And if they do, I'll join them. I don't care about the politics anymore. I have, again, focusing on the individual, I have taken action for myself to have a backup plan and to be able to live outside the United States. It's a long-term process. I don't have the raft built yet, but we have the beginnings of a raft built. Fine. See, and here's what I like about it. Go ahead, mandate it. See what happens. See what happens. People are lying down. They're lying flat. It's the Great Resignation. And go ahead. I think in the midterm elections, if America has any sense about it, and this would largely not even be Democrat or Republican, an overwhelming candidates should be running, starting next year, they'll start doing their campaigns and advertising. People should be running on, we're getting rid of lockdowns and bans and all that. We're done with this. We're done with the root beer floats. You run on that. You don't say anything about budgets or anything. I'm ending the root beer floats. They'll win. Maybe they could strong arm Biden into doing something. Who knows? I don't care. And I'll admit right now I'm so flippant about it because I live in South Dakota and I'm self-employed. I won't have to ever force that. And I would probably go on welfare before interviewing with HR. I will resign. I'm not interviewing HR. I'll have, I'll go on welfare, whatever government programs. I'll go to the food bank. I'm not working a corporate gig again. That's not just, not fair. You can pay me $15 an hour. That's all right. But if you lie, you cheat, you do any Josh Fluke stuff, I'll go. Hey, you got food? Thanks for the food. I'm going to sit and play video games. I'm going to become Vlad Elkins. $2. Clary's just jealous about me flying to Portland. No, I'm not. You got to go there. The tornado chasing kid, he left. It's interesting. You guys switched. He went to Texas. Now you're going to Portland. You guys switched. Maybe you can wave each other. Say hi to the fam. Nonstop Dre, $2. Reconnaissance in Texas is great. Next Florida. Yeah, good. I'm glad you moved out because you were in a not right free state. Sam Whiskey, $2. Shampoo fun for Kathy. I miss Mary Jo. Cute gal. I will have, yes, the shampoo fund for Cappy. I will, I have like 3 bottles of shampoo because the girlfriend like, oh, we got this shampoo. I'm like, no. And it's my shower because like, this is like the leftover shampoo. I'm like, okay, we get through these, 1 bottle of shampoo. Well, I don't care. You get 1 kind. That's it. There's 1 bottle of shampoo. I'm not having 5 bottles of shampoo. 1. And you know why I can do that? Because it's my house. My house. You really shut up. Heard about what we really ought to be doing for 50 effing years. It doesn't work. Shut up. The answer is 1 bottle of shampoo. I was having a chat with my old man, and I won't go into the details. And I said, this is what's happening at my house. He's like, man, you got to figure it out. I said, you boomers swallowed that feminist BS wholesale, didn't you? Like, he laughs. He's like, yes, we did. I say, not happening here. Not this house. He just laughed his ass off. It was good. $10. Don't see how we will be able to keep things running with everyone so afraid of everything. Well, the Chinese will work for us. We will print off more money. Here's competent man. Come on, you listen to TFM. Let me explain how it will work. We'll continue to print off more money. The world will print off slightly more money than us. We'll say, hey, look at our big USA dick. We'll swing it around. And people say, oh, world reserve currency. Okay. And then we'll just pay the Chinese, among other nations, to continue producing our stuff. And then they'll give us our stuff. And then as the money makes it's through the banking system and kind of, not all of it will be exported inflation. Some will stay domestic. And our housing prices will go up and rent will go up and costs will go up. And people be like, why is everything so expensive? It's God, I just wish China and the export countries would form a block and say, we're not sending you any more stuff. You're paying us in gold or Bitcoin. Oh, would I have an economic erection 6 feet long? My balls or my dick would be as big as Dre's. If I saw all the export countries form a front and say we're only accepting gold, silver, or crypto. I'd tune into the news again for that. I tune into the news for that. That would be amazing. Oh, the electricity would go out overnight here. It would be horrible. That would cause a collapse. That would absolutely, be wonderful. It'd be wonderful. I don't even think the electricity would be on for me to watch that happen, but it would be wonderful to see it in person. Incapable of any thinking of their own, go along to get along, except coming to an end with hyperinflation. It would be a wonderful thing. I play the Louis Satchmo. It's a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Nonstop Dre, $2. Is Cappy going to be Vlad's best man for his wedding? I have a feeling there will be no wedding because weddings and marriage is stupid. And people can commit and fall in love. They do not need the government or the state to make it a lopsided, one-sided, destructive contract. I will leave it up to Vlad Elkins and his not girlfriend to figure that out. But I think we're all very clear that marriage is stupid. Marriage is dumb for both the men and women. Great quote. Dude, you want a line? For those of you who have a girlfriend, committed girlfriend. Boomers would always come up to me. How long you been dating? And like 3 years. Well, when you gonna put a ring on it? And the GF has been there. I say, oh no, I want to keep having sex. And the husband, and the women are just like, what? Because they know it's true. There's your answer. Anytime anybody gives you any shit, well, when you going to put a ring on it? Well, when you going to get married? Oh, no, I like having sex. You can just say, well, because I want to keep having sex. And it shuts up all the stupid married people. Shuts them right the F up. Because the women get all sheepish. And the men just... Sometimes they just smile. They look at you like... And it's these old timers. They're stuck, man. They're stuck married. And they're like, you get them. Go get them. Guy, don't. It's not a show. It's not a shtick. It's not, ooh, I'm being edgy. It's not clickbait. No, don't get married. It's just literally the dumbest decision a man can make. One of the best decisions women can make, but it's one of the dumbest decisions men can make. So don't do that. Mike, to add to Competent Man's super chat, Joker's review of the trial of how people can and become more and more sheeple like is concerning and becoming more as we progress. I'd like to watch a guy. I'm busy. I consume Bachelor's like red meat dating stuff because I laugh. I enjoy the decline. I enjoy the show. I tune into Turd Flinging Monkey. I tune into Tipping the Odds Vegas podcast. I tune into World Class Bullshitters. I tune into Chris Beckloff. But I don't watch the news. I'm no longer concerned about, oh, Aaron, did you know the Titanic hit an iceberg and it is sinking now? I knew that 20 years ago. You don't have to remind me. I'm having a drink at the bar. Okay, I'm listening to the music. I know, I got it. Okay, just listen to the music. Enjoy the drink. Maybe why don't you join me here? Why don't you enjoy the decline? Ex-Viking, $5. Hey, Cappy, just saying hi. Thank you. Thank you very much. 1K is going to happen. I'm working with city officials to assemble the parade route for Jubilee. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and resubscribe. You may have been unsubscribed. That happens. You have to resubscribe because the googs. Then Capricorn, and Safety Doc, he's approaching 1,000. So after subscribing to my channel, please go subscribe to the Safety Doc's channel. Capricorn Cabulous, $2. If you had to choose one, lift or run, and a zero caliber gun or 22. I don't know what you're asking, Capricorn. I would run because I don't find it anywhere near as painful. It's good for your heart. And that would keep me alive longer in the long run, I believe. I preferred, and I've given up both. Not really given up, but there's just basic maintenance on both of them. Because I'm trying to pack in all this stuff before I fly back home. That's going to happen in only a couple days. So I got to earn my... today was supposed to be a day off. And I enjoy this one because I got to enter spreadsheets. Fred Freeman Sowell, $2. Will gals go re in March if Roe v. Wade? And it's not going to end. They're going to go re anyway. They'll re. That's what they do is they re, Fred. They re all the time. Pavel again for $5. I'm all for great resignation because there's less competition. I got a great opportunity this year because nobody else showed up for you. Yeah, there's another reason. Maybe, now's the time, guys. You want to get in. He's not wrong. I'd walk in. I'm like, I'll be a truck driver. I'm not doing diseases. I'm not doing sensitivity training. I will show up on time. I'll do the job. I'm not doing HR. Yes or no? Okay, no, bye. Welfare. Competent Man, $5. Any broadcast plan for Xmas Day? Sort of like our here version tradition of the Queen's speech that the Queen gives every year in England. No, I was going to do a very cappy Christmas. We did a very cappy Thanksgiving, but I won't be doing one because I'm going to be driving all over freaking Wisconsin and Minnesota. And I do need some time off. Michael, $2. C17H21N04. Good. Thank you. Don't know what that is, but thank you. Mexi Mike, $2. Yes. Xmas podcast for Aaron's Bachelor Orphans. Do it. No, it won't happen. Fred Freeman saw $2, but married men seem less bored than single men. No, they are not. No, they are miserable. They are bored. They're white. Let me explain to you. Please mark this. 1:23, 40 seconds. The number one cause of all marital problems is women get fat. Okay, that's it. Because all marriages, all love, all romance is based on physical attraction. Men have a larger demand for physical attraction than women. Men get the women get the men. Haha, now I could get fat because women love food more than men. I know I'm abbreviating this and painting with a very broad brush, but women love food and laziness more than their marriage and men. The men change. Women think the men change for no reason, but men don't have the balls to tell women, hey, you got fat. I don't want to have sex with you anymore. You ruined this very important thing for me in life, if not the most important thing. You just want one thing out of women. Yes, we do. Yes. I'm the only one who's got the balls to tell you. Since men don't tell the women they're getting fat, they just react. They shut down, literally like machine. They shut down. They don't produce as much. They get depressed. Well, you can't just say, yeah. Women get fatter. Then they go find another guy to bang, and then there's a divorce of the girls. He's not loving or exciting anymore. That's because you're not thin or hot anymore. They file for divorce. Boom, there it is. I just described all of American marriage for like the past 50 years. And if it starts, that's the snowflake that causes the avalanche, ladies. You get fat, which is a huge betrayal. That's the equivalent to cheating on a guy. One would argue even worse. And I'll say it again, man. If your woman gets fat, you got every right to go and step out on her. Every right. A lot of times people say, like, oh, you should really break up with that. If you're married, I mean, which if you didn't get married, you'd have the negotiation ability. Huh? Don't listen to me. What do I know? I'm just a guy with a hat. Goddamn bacon, 223. Put a ring on it. I'd rather call her. Hey, there you go. That's what Vince over at the Masculine Geeks would say. Nonstop Dre, $362. When next show with the Great One and the Aussie? I don't know. The Greasy Pole, they do it every once in a while. Great One's got to come back from vacation. Adam, he'll be around. Django Geek, $2. Pick apart this argument from a left libertarian. No, there's no picking. No. If you are a left libertarian, you are not rational or sane, and there's nothing to pick apart. It's like when you make a statement with empirical data and everything, and a leftist comes in, is like, oh, must be nice to be so delusional. It's like, okay, you can't argue with that because they are not engaging in the argument, and they're just calling you names. So you can't. That's why you don't really, generally, you don't try to argue with the leftists unless there's money involved and you have an established number. You're going to bet on whether you're closer to it or he or she's closer to it. Socrates A, $2, laughing out loud. Michael with the chemical formula for cocaine. Fred Freewood saw $2. Why do women like food more than marriage? Biology. Yeah, well, and you could say this too about men. Most people like food more than they like the opposite sex because single people are getting fat too. Everyone's getting fat. Meanwhile, the number one thing women want men is an in-shape guy, and vice versa for men. And the biology is that it's at a higher priority, a more important biological Darwinistic need, and that is survival. Laziness is your survival mechanism. So you don't expend more calories of energy that what the environment could provide, and you starve to death. But, and so it's not like a choice. Women love food more than they love men. It's their biology screaming at them. It's whether you have a frontal cortex, an independent person, and not a sheep, which, again, I argue you're not. 70% of you are sheep if you use obesity as a measure. Do I eat the salad and work out and make my husband happy? Or do I, read one of the numerous books that rationalize why Vig is beautiful and I don't owe him pretty? There's a book out there. We don't owe you pretty and we don't owe him sex. That's another thing. Okay, fine. Men can get fat too. But it is biological in nature, yeah. Django Geek, $5. You wake up from a plane crash on an island to find the other survivor hoarded all the edible food. He offers you a tray. 1 day food for a beach. I kill him. Just that simple. There's no law. And that's a person I wouldn't want to work. Like, that person is a tyrant already. Like, you want a moral reason to kill him because you're going to be a slave with that mentality. They're not going to, I would be like, oh, dang, are you all right? Look, here's all the stuff we got, man. Let's work together because we would have a higher chances. We're talking game theory, but that's what I would do. Because long term, you stand a better shot working together than going against one another. Like, I'm king, you slave. I just would kill him. Competent Man, $2. Molecular form, C17 may refer to as nose candy. Oh, okay. That's cocaine. Nonstop Dre, $2. Donate Cappy books to Carlson for Christmas. I don't think they have a library. I think Wilson Library is the closest library, but I don't think they have a business. Who knows? Maybe they needed more money. Who needed more of a library? They would burn those books. David, 128, $2. Prawn Hub released their viewing data. BBW not on the list. Really? No kidding, Dave. Really? Nonstop trade, $2. Operation Evil for Men, CSM, Carlson School of Management, Cheap Short Men. Cheap Short Men. I guess the Operation Evil for Men is like, hey, take my course on grooming and cufflinks and fashion to get the girls. Like, no. Rich Cooper's book, The Unplugged Alpha, my book, The Book of Numbers. The last chapters tell you what to do. It's not that hard. That's the argument for leftist revolution. What's that? We owed free shit. Is that the argument? They benefited unfairly as I sat here on my ass getting impregnated by 7 different guys. And all my children are like half siblings. Is that the excuse? All right. There it is. That was only an hour, 30 minutes. I'll catch you guys later. Get my books. We talked a lot about them today. They're good philosophical reads. They'll help you out practically. And don't become a philosophy doctorate. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.